In the most general sense, it's silly to panic over almost anything that happens in week one of an NFL season. But did you catch the almost in there? Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. Comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of the other two teams in town that I cover, the Penguins and the Pirates. Yeah, I'll panic. I'll do double the panic for you today. And you know what? Neither of them is going to involve the run defense, which honestly I feel like I need to explain before I get going. I'm not about to suggest that Keanu Benton's going to right himself. I'm certainly not about to suggest anything related to Isaiah Loudermilk, or for that matter, a rookie in YA Black. None of the three performed well. I'm not going to suggest that Peyton Wilson is going to become a superior run stopper. I am, however, going to suggest that there are players and there are schemes that can compensate for all of the above. Not to mention the pending return of Derek Harmon to the front. If you show me a scheme that looks and feels aggressive, you show me a scheme that has the right players with the right attitudes aligned to go after the backfield, I'll show you the players and the mindsets to match. They're here. They're here. This does not need to be augmented. As such, I don't see it as a panic thing, not from a personnel perspective. Whereas, do you happen to check out the list of snap counts from this game Sunday? Did you happen to notice that Kenny Gainwell had 30 and Jaylen Warren had 25? So when you were saying to yourself in watching this, wherever you happened to be in the third and fourth quarter, why are they treating Gainwell like he's the starter? You are hereby supported by the math. Additional math on this, that Warren carried 11 times for 37 yards, not a great average of 3.4. He had a long of 9. Gainwell carried 7 times for 19 yards, a really lousy average of 2.7 and a long of 6. The running game as a whole was kind of crap. There were other reasons for that, but what you don't want to do is take a scenario that's already iffy for you and make it that much more iffy by trying to out-clever it, or whatever this might have been. Let me put this in the plainest language possible. Warren is better than Gainwell at everything. He's a better runner up the middle. He's better at breaking tackles. He's better at reaching the edge. He's better at catching passes. He's better at breaking tackles once he catches those passes. And he is better than pretty much every back on the planet when it comes to picking up blitzes and protecting his quarterback. And he's out there less than the other guy? I feel completely comfortable panicking over that. That has to change, and it has to change Sunday at Acrisure Stadium against the Seahawks. Whether this is an Arthur Smith concept, whether this is Mike Tomlin, whether this just came about by accident, if this ends up getting cemented in anyone's mind who's coaching this football team, meaning this notion that Gainwell is your number one back, or even that he's 1A and Warren is 1B, sound all of the sirens, my friends. It's going to be hard enough for this team to run the football by doing things right, let alone by doing something this dumb. And part of the reason for that, well, that brings me to my other panic. Certainly not second in the priority order. I can confidently say that you and I don't agree on everything that I bring up on every episode. I can just as confidently say that I'm going to bat 1,000 on this one. The notion that the 2025 season is a do or die for Broderick Jones is fair, but it doesn't go far enough, because the implication therein is that he's just going to make it through the whole season as your starting left tackle, almost without condition, so that we can get some really good long look at him before deciding if he's worth a fifth-year option. No thanks. I have suggested previously on this program that he shouldn't get any more, not one game more, than Ireland, to show what he can or can't do, to show what Pat Meyer can or can't coach, to show what can or can't be done strategically, for example, pinning Darnell Washington to his shoulder. But here are some ugly truths that I'm going to lay bare, and you're not going to want to picture these things. If Jones continues to give up 3 sacks and 4 pressures per game, which is what he gave up in this game, it won't matter how effective or youthful or anything Aaron Rodgers looks, because he's not going to last. He's not going to last a month. If the Steelers continue to get broader blocking quality like what they got on Sunday with the run, they're never going to run. They're never going to be able to go anywhere, no matter how anyone organizes the running backs themselves. Now, I doubt very seriously that any of us could be convinced by anyone in management that getting a long look at Jones is a bigger priority than the things I just cited. Let's keep in mind that for all the flaws we saw in that first game, this football team has been designed to win right now. Doesn't mean it will, but that's the bracket that they're in by necessity, by virtue of the average ages of a lot of the most important players. And you're going to toss that out? You're going to toss that out because of one player and the possibility that you might not make the right decision on a fifth-year option? No, and no. I am not about to sit here and say that Calvin Anderson's going to come in and eureka his way into all-pro status in his late 20s. But I feel pretty good in presuming that Anderson at his worst isn't going to cost you 3 sacks and 4 pressures a game. Listen, if we all say, and I see, hear, and read a lot of this, that all you need from Jones is for him to just be ordinary, just be average, then why wouldn't you be comfortable with just replacing him with someone who is ordinary and average? When we come back, J1Q. This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials, so you can join in on all the action. Hey guys, if you're planning to see a Steelers game, use the Game Time app to get your tickets. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone if you set it into your app alerts. The app is easy to use. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see your seat view before buying, and you're getting legit tickets delivered on time. If you're not much of a planner, you can get last-minute deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app and enter the code DK Steelers into your app profile to get $20 off your first purchase. Today's J1Q comes from BP in Wilkinsburg, who says, DK, with the Steelers' run defense getting gashed all day, why was Cole Holcomb not inserted? Peyton Wilson, granted, is better in coverage, but he's below average against the run. You had me completely there, BP, until the Peyton Wilson's better in coverage. Holcomb, when he was on his game, was fantastic in coverage for a linebacker. The young Wilson declaring himself to be the best coverage linebacker in the world, notwithstanding, Holcomb's actually done it. Holcomb's actually been there and lived it. I understand we didn't get to see as much of him as we'd all have hoped before that injury, but you saw enough. Guy's a really good overall football player. Since I'm citing snap counts today, Holcomb's snap count, meaning with the defense, was 0. He did make it onto the field. He did so on special teams. So Malik Harrison played more snaps with the defense than Holcomb did. Harrison had 4, and then, as you might recall, in the fourth quarter, hurt his knee. But Peyton Wilson played pretty much nonstop. He and TJ Watt had the same number of snaps, 56 out of the total of 64. I say this all the time, but you can't coach or make decisions like this, personnel decisions, to what it is that you want or what it is that you expect. You have to coach to reality. You have to coach to what you're actually seeing. To an extent, if TJ has a rough game, TJ's going to keep playing, right? That's not what we're talking about here. With Wilson specifically, we're talking about a second-year player who, as a rookie, was not very good in stopping the run. And he hasn't earned any status over Holcomb, except possibly one thing. That'd be that they're trying to protect him, limit his snaps over 17 games. Maybe that's something that's in their heads regarding Jaylen Warren. But that doesn't make any sense. You just watched Holcomb go through a training camp, a hard camp, and a preseason in which his knee was tested every which way. There's nobody that I've heard, least of all from the athlete himself, that he's operating at some sort of percentage that's less than 100. Might he lack, let's say, the same explosiveness that he would have had pre-injury? I would say that it'd be pretty understandable if that were the case. Has that played itself out on a field, in camp, or practices? Again, not to my eyesight, not to my knowledge. And even if Holcomb were a tick slower, and as such markedly slower than the incredibly fast Wilson, ask me right now how much I'd care about that compared to making a tackle. And by tackles, I'm talking about up-front tackles, not chasing the guy down from behind. Hear me out on this. If Deshaun Elliott is hurt for any amount of time, even if it's just for this coming week, and I'll remind everybody in my reporting from East Rutherford, New Jersey, that Deshaun gave me a kind of a thumbs up in the locker room to suggest he's not going to be out for a long time, that it wasn't some big injury, but that doesn't mean he's not going to miss any games. He's your best tackler, certainly out of anybody who's behind the front, and you don't have him. Your decisions need to be based on beating the Seahawks and nothing else. Not how so-and-so will hold up to weeks 16 and 17 or whatever. You need to beat the Seahawks. And the way you're going to beat the Seahawks is by being a whole heck of a lot better defensively, in particular in stopping the run. No need to anoint anybody. I appreciate the question. It was a good one. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Mike Tomlin's press conference is at noon. Our double shot of Steelers, presented by FanDuel, is coming up at 4 p.m., and you got lots of time between now and then to download the DK Pittsburgh Sports app. After you do that, to email me at dk@dkpittsburghsports.com to get yourself a wonderful discount to the premium version of that app. Nobody says no to this deal, by the way. Nobody yet has said, nah, I'm going to pass that one up. Hope to see you then.